How large should your embroidery fabric be? Welcome to Epida Studio. My name is Elizabeth and I help you make beautiful things with quilting, pochagi, and embroidery. So I have seen a lot of embroidery tutorials online and where somebody puts their fabric in their hoop and then they immediately trim away the fabric around the edge of the hoop so it leaves only an inch or two beyond the edge of the fabric. And if you're going to do your stitching and then finish it in that hoop and leave it in there forever, then that's not really a problem. And I understand why that's an advantage. Because if you have your hoop on a larger piece of fabric, then sometimes as you're stitching, your stitches can get caught in all of this excess fabric. So I understand why people would want to have such a small edge of their fabric. But I don't recommend doing this unless you have to, because you could be starting a habit that could become a problem later on. So after you've stitched about 10 or 20 hoops and you have your embroidery wall with them all hanging, you might want to stitch something different than just a little hoop. And if you have always trimmed away the excess fabric, then that could be a hard habit to break. So when you're trying to decide how big your fabric should be for stitching, first you need to think about what you're going to do with your finished embroidery piece. So if you want to make a 12-inch square pillow, you're going to need your fabric to be at least 14 inches square, even if your embroidery is only 6 inches. And similarly, if you want to use your embroidery piece in a quilt, then you're going to want it to be bigger than whatever piece that you're going to have in your quilt. So whenever possible, use fabric that is a bit bigger than the finished size you will need. If you want to put something in a frame, you're going to need at least a couple inches beyond each edge of the frame to be able to fold back to have it framed nicely. So whenever possible, use fabric that is a bit bigger than you think you're going to need, because that will give you leeway later on when you go to try and center your piece or put it in just the right position. And it's a lot easier to trim off extra fabric than it is to try and add on fabric after your stitching has been done. If you are looking for an embroidery project, I have embroidery tutorials, inspiration, projects, and patterns at my website, and you can check that out at epidastudio.com.